Okay, so for this part, we're going to repair some flaws that existed from the previous example or the previous version. So let's identify these flaws. Let's try to fix them. And a lot of them have to do with the way the forms were built, and most importantly, the button here for the switchboard. Let me show you here for a second. My intention at that time was to click on client, add clients, add products based on their manufacturer, and then do some client transactions. This button here actually opened the wrong form. So if I click on it right here, as you can see, there is no way for me here to select the appropriate client. As you can see, it's opening just clients here, and that is the wrong form. So let me just click here. That is the wrong form. So we want to fix that. Let's click on design mode here. And what we'll do, we'll change the properties of this button right here. So you could click here, design view, okay? And then click on the button itself. And then on click, as you can see under the properties, you will select, so on click, I can click here, what is it that you want to open? So the form name is right here. So you can change that at will as to which form you really want to open. And what I intended to open is the client transactions. As a matter of fact, I made even a bigger mistake earlier where I only had transactions, and it was this way. Let me show you the problem was, what it was. So let me close this and save this and open this. And then if I click here, it did transactions, but I still could not select my client. So let's go back to design, but I truly want this time the client transactions, not just merely the transaction form. So I urge you to go to the previous part to see what I did to get to this point and why at this stage I'm choosing client transactions. So let's fix some of these forms, okay? So let me save this, close. It's going to ask me to save it. I'm going to say yes. We need to save this as well. Let's go into view mode, okay? Everything is saved. So click on client transactions, and now that's much better, okay? So as you can see here, I can pick any client, okay, like Frank Williams, and I can see Frank Williams had some order on March 25th where he ordered a Respirator 2000. If I click here, I can see what it is, okay? And who the manufacturer is Transmed, okay? And purchased one of these, okay? So some improvement I would like to do. So let me close here. Let me close here again. Let me open the switchboard again. So what I would like to do, in the forms client, I want to add more buttons here. I want to go to the last record, first record. And I want this form to automatically open where I'm going to add a new client instead of just pointing to the first record. As you can see, I have 23 records at the bottom here. And I'm going to get rid of this navigation at the bottom since I'm going to have all the buttons here. Okay, so we've got quite a bit of work to do here. So let's do it. So I'm going to go ahead to design view. Okay, I'm going to start with the last record, first record, last record here. We already have new record here. And then I'll change the form that when it opens, it goes to a new record. Okay, so first, let's go to the first record. So I'm going to click a button here, and I'm going to say this is a record operation, or record navigation, I'm sorry, and go to first record. And you can see here you have an arrow with a vertical line. Okay, so that goes all the way to the beginning. So I'm going to just hit finish, and the lineup looks good there. May get it a little closer. Here you go. All right, so let's see if we could do the last record. So I'm going to do the same thing. Just bring the button here. And record navigation, the last record, finish. Okay, so let me just move that button nicely in between. Voila. And now let me save everything and just double check and make sure that it works. So I'm going to go over here to view. Here are my buttons. I'm going to go to the last record. Perfect. That's 23 of 23. I'm going to go to the first one. I'm going to step one at a time. I'm going to step one at a time. Okay. And here I've reached the end of the list. Perfect. Okay. So, but if I click on this button here, I get a chance to enter a new record. But I would like to, so let me just save here, close. Let me show you what I want. When you open client, that I am not pointing at the first record. I want this to automatically goes into edit mode where you're ready to enter a new client. Okay, so the client ID should say something like new. So to do this, let's go back to design view, and I'm going to click here, which is the area for the form. And I believe I would say on load. We could do something like this, or on open. Let's see here. If it's going to be on load or on open, I'm not sure which one it's going to be. Let's see here. And we could do a macro builder, and let's see if that will work. So we're going to pick go to record, maybe that, and it's going to say what kind, and here it says next. I'm going to pick new. There. Let's see if that will work. So let me save that. Okay, close it. Go back to design, to view mode, and there you have it. So let me close, save. So I'm going to go to client, and there you have it. So that allows me to, again, anytime it opens, that I get a window here where I'm going to enter the new client. So it saves me a lot of time instead of pushing buttons and doing all sorts of things. Now, after that, if I want to add a new record, I can click on this button. So let's go ahead and add a new client. Jimmy Granger. There you go. Okay. Now, if I click on this, it's going to go ahead and create another new one. And then you can see at the bottom, I have 25, 25. Okay. So let me just go to the beginning. Let me go to the end. Okay. So as you can see, I have a record. Now, just to eliminate confusion, I'm going to remove these navigation buttons here. So I'm going to go ahead into design mode. Let's see if I can do that. And let's see. So we would have, let's see if it's in here, all. I'm just going to go over here. All just pulls out all of them. Format might be the one to be specific. Record selector, here you go. And then you could say no. And if navigation buttons, you could say no. Okay, so no to these two. Let's see what happens. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to design view, and there you have it. It's nice and clean. No navigations at the bottom. You could still use the navigations over here, and that's the intent, is to focus the user to use the buttons that you've designed here. So let's save this. Let's inspect the other forms and make sure everything is good. Product. I want to do the same thing with manufacturer. I want to be able to move across manufacturers and add products for these manufacturers. I want to do the same idea. So this could be a good review here to what I did to improve these forms. So I want these buttons to be right here, smack in the middle of the screen, to make it easy instead of going all the way. I'm using a trackball. So it takes time for me to go from the center of the screen down to here. So I would like to keep everything kind of in the center, okay? So either I'm typing, either navigating, so I don't have to have wide motion to do anything and make things a lot more efficient. So let me go to design mode here again. So we're going to do all the buttons for navigation. And we're going to remove the at the bottom, So let me just go over here. Let's start backwards. I'm going to remove the record selector and remove the navigation buttons. Okay. Now we're going to put some buttons right here. Voila. And this would be a record operation. Go to first record. Okay, we can do that. And then we're going to do another one. Step backwards. Go to previous. There you go. This one. So I'm going to put it right here. And line it up. And go to next. Go to next record. That looks good. I'm going to put it here. Oops. And then I'm going to go to last. You can always rearrange them, get them closer. Go to last record, finish. Right there. And next we're going to do a new record if needs be. And I think that's under record operation. And that would be add new record. So we're going to go over here, say finish. There you go. So now we got little buttons here that allow us to do some of this navigation and adding new records. So let me just get this guy a little closer here, just by a little bit. And let's see how we're doing with the others. Maybe this one a little closer, this one a little closer, this one a little closer here. I think I might have him equidistant. I'm not sure. We'll see. So let's go over here. That looks good. Okay. So as you can see, I can go to the Transmed was my last manufacturer. We don't have a navigation at the bottom, which is good. I can go to the first one and I can step through all of them. And as you can see, I can step through my manufacturers and all the products they have. Okay, perfect. So if I click here, it will add a new manufacturer and I can add products under them and so on. So let me save this and let's make sure the next one is good as well. Client transactions. Perfect. That's all I need because here your selection is going to be based on the client that you choose. We will improve on this form maybe where it will be a query where you enter a client ID or a name and then it will pull them out instead, because if you have hundreds of clients, this can be very unwieldy. Another issue now with the design, so that's something that we can resolve for this form here. But let's say we're satisfied with all of this. Now it's time to check and see if indeed we need to make any changes to this database or improve it even more. And I believe there's a lot of room for improvement. Let me explain. Let's look at the relationships between these. So the relationships are fine as far as I'm concerned, except I don't have a lot of information on the client other than first name and last name. I would like to have addresses or contact information for client. And the reason for that is, what if I'm doing a marketing research and I would like to know what product is selling best in what area? Okay, so kind of get a history and trend so I can focus my marketing a little better, see who buys more, what kind of products, and so on. Speaking of products, the products are here, so they belong to manufacturers. And I have quantities being purchased for each line item. However, wouldn't it be a great idea to initially, whenever I have products, to actually have quantity on hand here that gets updated every time a quantity gets assigned to a line item through a transaction for a client? Then it will be a true, how should I say, tracking database for your inventory control. And that could really work out. So maybe we could come up with a query, an update query that runs every time you commit a transaction. That means you're going to have to finish the transaction and do that. So an idea I have in mind is possibly, let me go to switchboard. When you do a transaction, you're ready to go. So it's not committed until you're ready to go. If you click here, I might add a macro for this button that runs the update query, and it will take this quantity that's in here, in this field, okay, and subtracted from the field under the product, which, as you can see here, I don't have quantity on hand here, but I would like to design one with a quantity on hand. So this tells me that we have some improvements to do. We have some things to do. That's going to take me to the next level. How would you go about it? Can I redesign this? Can I make a copy of this database? Yeah, I mean, you could do a whole bunch of other ways to solve this, but for the sake of learning, what I'm going to do is transfer data from this database to another one that I would create separately, transfer objects like tables and forms into another database. So that's going to be a really great learning opportunity for the next video, where we get to transfer data, pure data, into a new table you create yourself, and or transfer an actual full table and forms and queries. So any entity or objects that was designed in Microsoft Access over here, you can move it to another Microsoft Access. Another technique also, again, like I said, what if I just wanted the data, right? Because my table structure might be different than the original table. However, some of the data that's in there is going to be important. I'm going to do that on the client. And we're going to see what I'm going to do is transfer the client into a spreadsheet maybe, okay, into a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. And then I'm going to design a new database that will extract the data back from the spreadsheet. So that's going to be a really fun exercise to do. And then value added, we're going to have to transfer some tables out of the original database, this one, into the new database. And then we'll take care of the design. So certain things that I'm looking for is that for client, I would like to add more fields. And for product, or these fields for the client will be the address, city, zip code, and so on. For product, I want to add quantity on hand. Now, I could add them here and be done. But for the sake of exercise, to learn how to do migration and or redesign based on a previous database without messing up with the other database or messing it up, this would be an excellent exercise. That's for the next part or the next video.